Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. My next guest is best known as an actor and stand-up comedian. He's now turned the spotlight onto free speech and the vicious regime in his family's native Iran. Omid Djalili joins me now. Omid, great to have you back on the programme. Let me start, before we get to Iran, which is a passion thing that you want to talk about, and I get that. This Rwanda story, ongoing, about how we're going to deal with the small boats, with refugees, asylum seekers, and perhaps people trying it on as well. What's your take on it?
Well, you know, I'm very, as a proud Iranian, I'm very happy to tell you that on the UN building, there's a Persian poet called Saadi who has his poem on the building, and the translation says, "If you do not feel human pain, the name human you cannot retain." And I think that's really powerful, because where I live in Suffolk now, I've got to know some Iranian asylum seekers who've literally run away. They've been here since January. They've run away from the regime. And they're very frustrated because they can't work. They love Iran. They don't want to be in Britain, but now they're here. They want to contribute. One of them is a tennis player. And we did this Turkey-Syria benefit gig, and they spoke. They spoke so powerfully. They were saying, why can't we make love and unity the dictatorship? Why can't we... To see the world as one globe is very, very important. I think, and when we saw Fiona Bruce on Question Time asking, do you agree with the Rwanda?
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Not a single hand went up. And it was mainly a conservative audience.
Yeah, I thought that was a really wonderful moment, and it really gave me hope that British people are good, and we understand that when people run away, they're running away from awful regimes that we were going to talk about, where if they stayed there, they'd be killed.
They're not all running from awful regimes.
No, not all.
I mean, we had the issue with a lot of young Albanian economic migrants coming and so on. Where do we draw the line? What is the right way to handle this?
Well, I don't know, but all I can tell you is that knowing these Iranian asylum seekers, and they're asylum seekers in the sense that they can't work until they have their residential papers, we have to speed things up, because they've been here for 5-6 months. They're desperate to contribute.
The processing system seems completely broken.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's causing a lot of the irritations, I think.
Yes.
There's a great story that the Queen was upset with the BBC for editing out your migrant joke about Rwanda.
Yeah. It was ITV. I think there was a little segment where the night before, we had some practice nights, and I did this joke about, please, for God's sake, don't send me to Rwanda. And ITV said, I think we'll drop that for the Queen.
Oh, it was ITV, right?
It was ITV. It was for the horse show, was a pageant, the Jubilee pageant. And she was a bit upset because she'd heard because what happened to the Rwanda joke, because it got cut, and she was a bit annoyed. But then again, I understand, because you can't show the royal family commenting on governmental policy. So it makes
But interesting that she would have preferred it in. Eh?
They've got a great sense of humour. You've got they do love a laugh, and I did do a joke about how, thanks for choosing us over the state opening of Parliament. It was the big elephant in the room. Right. She did that thing with her hand, like, you know, you're very cheeky, but I like you, kind of thing. So it was fun.
Let's turn to Iran. And the women of Iran in particular. This has been a big running story now for a while. Do we care enough in the West about what's going on here? Is there enough of a light being shone?
Well, on the one sense, there is a women-led revolution going on, and we're all surprised that the Western press are not picking up on it. But there is this campaign, which I'm very proud to stand with, which is called Our Story Is One campaign, that reminds everyone, and a lot of Iranians don't know about this, 40 years ago, 10 women, 10 Baha'i women, and of course they're part of a faith which was outlawed in Iran. They were asked to recant their beliefs or face the death, and they didn't. And it was an amazing moment of standing up for freedom of expression, freedom of thought, and freedom of belief, and all 10 were hanged. And one of them was a 17-year-old girl called Mona Mahmoud-Najad, who then became very well known, not just for being someone who was very powerfully stood against the regime, but she also became a poster person for child executions. 6 years later, there was the United Nations put these things where they to stop child executions, because she was 17 years old. And unfortunately, the only country that still carries out child executions is the Islamic Republic of Iran.
You, because of your outspokenness on this issue, and it's been very courageous, but you've had a huge amount of attacks on social media from Iranian bots and so on. We saw what happened to Salman Rushdie, of course, which is a vicious attack on his free speech.
Yes.
Do you worry about this?
I worry a bit for my mental health, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to give my social media over to the voiceless, because you know what they do first, before they start killing people, they cut the internet. So through VPN, they put out a couple of videos, and those of us go through it, and they're really horrific. And I can only put out a few things which I think are palatable for an English-speaking audience. But at the same time, I think it's very important to get stories out. Like for the 10 women of Shiraz, what we did this little video about an English girl playing the last moments of her life. And the question was that just because it's not happening here, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So I think that even though I'm being attacked, I am more worried about my own mental health, seeing all these horrific videos. But at the same time, social media is our weapon, and you've got to keep putting it out.
What's your key message to people watching this about what's happening in Iran?
It's basically get involved, have a look what's going on. The Our Story is One campaign is also a creative one. Have a look at how we can support the women of Iran. And also, we have to say, with Salman Rushdie was being, attacked and killed, and there were all these videos of people, the Islamic Republic of Iran.
He's still alive, obviously.
He's still alive, but still. But
tried to kill him.
They tried to kill him, but the Islamic Republic of Iran are putting out all these videos, asking jihadists to kill people, blow up embassies, blow up libraries. And why? We're asking the big question, why is it? Why is it that ISIS, there was a concerted effort to eradicate them, but the Islamic Republic of Iran are vice chairman of the General Assembly of the United Nations?
Great to see you. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.